Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so Iceman buff is live, update is out, and it's only fitting that we check out well, how he played before, compare it to how he plays now, and get some initial impressions of this buff. Obviously it's still very early. There might be some things that I'm overlooking or that they are not coming into full context, and it's also important to keep in mind that Iceman is very liquid courage double edge friendly champion for mid to short length fights, and I am not running those masteries right now, but they do definitely help his damage out quite significantly. So these initial clips are going to establish the baseline, how Iceman used to function without synergies in longer and shorter fights, and then we're going to move on to post buff. So this first fight is obviously, as always in Realm of Legends, Winter Soldier. We do have the class advantage here, and I'm using the same mastery setup for every single video clip that you guys can see here. And this initial one is just Iceman, rank 3, Sig 200, nothing else to it. I'm going to be alternating in between my level 1s and level 2s and sneaking in my heavy attacks as and when I can if there's something to detonate. But one of the bigger problems with the Iceman before the buff was that, yeah, you didn't really get to stack up many frostbites on your opponent unless you were fully synergized, basically, because you have about 35-45% chance to gain a frostbite on your critical hits. Iceman doesn't have the biggest crit rate on his base to begin with, and they do expire relatively shortly, so here we can see two of them detonated for 9k. That's kind of fine, and we are having a class advantage in this fight as well. I'm not going to show you guys the entire fight because I do have quite a lot to go through, but here we can see that he is doing his best, kind of chugging along, and yeah, we can see that most of the time there aren't really more than a couple of frostbites on the opponent. If you get 3, that's kind of like a score. That's a 13k burst on a heavy attack. But ultimately, obviously, we all love Iceman, but it's just not good enough. And that shows in the final time. With class advantage, it takes for a rank 3 champion to defeat this Winter Soldier. And that is 2 minutes 55. Quite a long time. 2 minutes 55 is quite long. Right, let's move on with Synergies. And with Synergies, obviously, he's going to do a lot better. Now, after the buff, some of the synergies have been changed, and let's call it like it is. They have been either nerfed or one of the synergies has been incorporated in his base kit and effectively replaced with something meh. So Professor X synergy is in his base kit after the buff, but Scorpion synergy used to be very important for him. That gives him additional crit rating for each cold snap that he has on the opponent. And we're going to see a significant increase. So 255 was the first result. And now that we enter the fight here, I do have Magneto House of X pre-fight as well for a little bit of attack increase. And we are definitely going to see a completely different Iceman, because once he gets going with his initial frostbites, he's going to keep going, basically. So let's just see. So I do not get a good start RNG. We can see that I actually have failed to apply a single frostbite to my opponent, but now I have 2. And with those 2, I get a significant bump in crit rating, and now we have 40k special attack burst plus 30k, burst. Sorry, 40k special attack crit and 30k burst there. So that was a massive level 2, to be honest. Well, not the biggest in the world, but definitely a sizable special. So now I'm benefiting from a significant increase in my crit rate, and I'm building up to another level 2. I do want to have as many frostbites on the Winter Soldier as possible. Not only will my specials crit, I will get to apply even more frostbites on my crits and all that other good stuff. So here I am shooting it with 5, detonating it with 5, and it did like 50k in total, I believe. So the Winter Soldier is definitely going down much quicker. With a full synergy team, which is, again, obviously not how you're going to run it, but it is kind of interesting to see how he was when he was kind of fully optimized. Now we're going again for another level 2 there, likely. And I think here I do get clipped a little bit, not the end of the world, a tiny mistake there. We are getting a ton of frostbites here, and I am just going to detonate them right now. Perhaps I shouldn't have. Perhaps I should have just built up to level 2, but I managed to get a couple of frostbites back pretty much immediately. And now the level 2 burst dead, and this Winter Soldier is down in 2 minutes. Then I went in and repeated the thing to see how long it lasts with the same team, just kind of more frostbite spammy attitude, and this time around he went down in 140. So 140 was the fastest I managed. It's also obviously important to check out how he does against shorter length fights, and this is going to be Deadpool, standard punching bag, 160k health pool, and this is unsynergized Iceman. And I, in general, will try out several rotations here, but obviously this is kind of like a lower benchmark for Battlegrounds fights, and it kind of works out. No class advantage, no class disadvantage. It is a fairly simplistic moveset, and the health pool is on the smaller side. But considering also that this is a rank 3, and we can still take Iceman to rank 4, so it's a fairly good indicator, more or less, how fast he could do some of the easier Battlegrounds fights. And we obviously have to get clipped here and there. Again, this is with absolutely no synergies. And unfortunately, we don't get crit there. And that Deadpool looks quite healthy still, obviously, right, guys? His health is going down, but to say that it's melting or something like that, absolutely inaccurate. Again, all of this is still pre-buff. It is going to be important to see kind of like the benchmark that we have here on the Deadpool to see how we compare after the buff. And another level 1, we have Cold Snap, 3, 4 Frostbites, a Burst, nearly down. We're gonna go for a level 1, I believe. No, a full combo finishes it. And it was 1 minute 19. Then I repeated with different rotations, and virtually every single time I came around at 120, something like that. You can see that. Keep forward. How long is this one? 122, so 3 seconds slower, and I think the next one was 120 as well, something. So 124. So kind of slower and slower. Now we get the update, and the changes, the most important changes that we have is obviously that he has higher chance to apply his frostbite. Whenever his ice armor gets removed, then you also burst all of your frostbites, which is very helpful to have in his base kit. Also, whilst opponent suffering from cold snap, you get 100% chance to apply your frostbites if you have him at max sig, and his level 1 cold snaps last longer, which is kind of like a utility bit. But let's see how he does now. So first one was 255 is the benchmark, basically nearly 3 minutes. And we're going to quite immediately see that, again, his crit rate isn't the best, but when he crits, he does apply those frostbites much, much, much better. So he's going to be one of those champions you probably perhaps even want to run like lesser precision for or something, or max in dexterity, because crits are super important for him. And here we already had a nice, 25k detonation. Going for level 1 in this, we can try and build up as much as we can again before we detonate, or before I get to my level 2 to detonate. These aren't the perfect runs either. You guys are definitely going to see, some stretches with very bad crit RNG for me and stuff like that. But 52k burst, not too bad. And 40 hits, and we have done 40% damage to Winter Soldier pretty much. That's not too bad. Obviously, this is, with class advantage and against Realm of Legends punching bag. But now his damage, without a doubt, has improved. Question is, will it be enough? Will it be kind of competitive? So, again, we're trying to get that parry in. Unfortunately, that I was late to detonate with my heavy attack. There were like 5 cold snaps that expired by themselves, so I lost quite a bit of damage there, unfortunately. But I do have a level 2 coming up. Hopefully we can get to crit. If it does, then, it's going to be solid damage, 12k, and it doesn't. But we did still have 35k detonation. So you can see that Iceman is definitely a champion that's now going to be, well, always has been, but is very reliant on the crit RNG and your crit rate. So here we go, another detonation with heavy attack. Nice. Again, remember it was 2 minutes 55 seconds first time around. And then it was 2 minutes and 140 with the full synergy team. But now, without the synergy team, let's just check out the baby Iceman. Come on, what is going to be your final score here? You little rascal. And he did it in 2:11. So he shaved off 44 seconds. Which is about over a quarter in between, a third of his time, I believe. So 44-second improvement in its base is quite good, especially considering that Iceman is not necessarily kind of like a long form fight champion. Now, let's see how he does with full synergy team, and we can immediately see that there is a very nice stack of frostbites on that Winter Soldier. Trying to get to my level 2 to detonate a huge chunk, so hopefully not all of them expire. And we had an 88k detonation. That was fast. That's a single level 2, and that health pool part is gone. Again, this is with a full synergy team. It's slightly different synergy team, but still, it definitely is not bad. And again, 79k detonation. And this is a rank 3, no recoil, no boosts, but a full synergy team. So here, without a doubt, he's doing much, much, much better. And actually quite impressive for a champion that's not built for like longer fights. When synergized up, not bad at all. Unfortunately, that final level 2 wasn't quite, lucky in terms of my burst. I reckon that if I had been slightly bit luckier with my frostbites, I would have finished this fight about 15 seconds earlier, as is. I'm quite sure you can do that. And that was 125. So, not slow at all. And you can probably get it done in like 110. But now, most importantly, how he does against that Deadpool. This is kind of like the most important part. No synergy team, Deadpool, how well he's going to manage it. Because this is relative approximation of how he can do a Battlegrounds fight in a, meta-free environment. So, let's see. We are not getting very lucky with our cold snaps, so I decided to go for level 1 instead of level 2. We detonated there the 5, not too bad. Gonna go for another level 1 and another detonation. So we have activated 2 level 1s. Go for third level 1. We have 6 cold snaps, 2 frostbites as well, because 2 cold snaps, because cold snaps now last longer. He has gained his regen. And I think we just need to detonate one more time, and that should be it. And that lasted 52 seconds. I reckon perhaps, with better RNG, you can get it done in like 45 or so with the rank 3 without recall. And here I tested a bit different rotation. I think it was slightly slower, 56 seconds, but it's approximately the same as it would be, standard, I would say. You can get better rounds, again, if you get good crit RNG. You can definitely get worse rounds if you get bad crit RNG. But we can see that, I redid all of these fights several times to kind of like get a good approximation mark. And also, given the fact that Iceman's quite simple and easy to use, you can go for level 1s or level 2s, eventually parry and heavy somewhere in between. And obviously, Iceman does have that allure for a defensive power as well, because he inflicts Cold Snap, and if opponent doesn't have counter, they will be taking damage. Even though, other than that, Iceman's quite easy to fight. And then he has all his immunities and extra immunities now to Cold Snap, Incinerate, Bleed, Poison, and Nova Flames as well. So, what do I think? I actually think it's quite solid. I am considering taking him to rank 4. Definitely am. I'll think about it in the next day or two. but I'm definitely considering taking this guy to rank 4. Um, because he's, again, very easy to use, has 4 immunities, can work as an evade counter, and like that, most of his damage comes from kind of like passive burst and stuff. Let me know what you guys think, but the improvement is definitely solid. It went from nearly 3 minutes to barely over 2 minutes without synergies. With synergies, a rank 3 destroyed that Winter Soldier in 1 minute, 1 minute 25 seconds. And here it went from 1 minute 20, 1 minute 25 to 55 seconds, which in short fights is a massive difference. If you need to spend 90 seconds or 55 seconds to close out a fight, it's huge. Not quite double the damage output in short fights, but not too far off. So, let me know what you guys think. I'm personally somewhat happy with it. Obviously, it's Iceman. Obviously, Kabam, I think, could have, went a bit further with him. But at the same time, I don't think the end result is bad at all. What do you guys think? Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about